season.
I don't see how those two could stay off each other racing that tight and that close. You can see Bell crowding down on Gragson, trying to squeeze him into the corner. And look who's sitting right there ready to pounce.
Johnny Sauter waiting for somebody to mess up between Bell and Gragson.
Absolutely.
Certainly has to be, considering how long these two can run that tight.
Oh, there he goes! Both of them into the wall.
Takes Justin Haley with him.
Guys, John Hunter Nemechek got through and will line up second behind Johnny Sauter.
Nemechek still with an opportunity. And there he is. It seems so unlikely during the earlier laps in this race, but right now, John Hunter Nemechek is going to have a shot. And his 21 of Johnny Sauter is going to be the leader.
A lot of damage on that Ford truck of Christopher Bell. He made some pretty significant contact with the outside safer barrier.
I think maybe Bell was a little bit ahead of Sauter, but look at all the damage. That tire is rubbing pretty severely. I don't think it matters if Christopher Bell's the leader. I think he's going to have to pit.
And NASCAR is checking, and now they say that the 4 of Bell will be the leader.
I'm like Michael. I don't see him staying on the racetrack with all that damage. And what a tough break for Noah Gragson and Christopher Bell, for that matter. Both of them running such a great race.
Bell had led 88 laps. Gragson had led 55. They had been the two dominant drivers throughout the course of this race.
And Justin Haley there had driven himself in contention for the win here.
He was right there with Johnny Sauter in that battle for third.
And you see the frustration of Noah Gragson, undoubtedly believing that he had a truck that was capable of winning this race tonight.
Didn't see any way, Phil, those two could race like that and not crash. It's just nearly impossible.
I don't know how they went around lap after lap side by side like that and didn't crash before. And once again, they're going to stop the trucks over in turn 3.
Just hate it for both of those young men, Noah Gragson and Christopher Bell. Both of them had trucks capable of winning. Both of them led a good part of this race. 88 laps for Christopher Bell, 55 laps for Noah Gragson.
When you're down on the bottom like that and the truck is very aggressively chasing you into the corner, trying to take some aerodynamics off of your truck, it's so hard to hang on to them. It doesn't matter if you're a young racer like Noah Gragson or the veteran Matt Crafton, who we saw in that same position just a couple of years ago here.
Here they are side by side. Gragson there on the inside, and just, I don't know if there was contact that led to him getting around, and then Justin Haley had nowhere to go.
Wow, right in the door.
There had definitely been some contact between the 18 and the 4. Whether or not it directly led to the 18 taking a spin there, I'm not sure. It's hard to tell from this angle.
As Michael said, you see Christopher Bell way down hugging that 18 truck, and it looks like it just got him loose, Michael. We see so many times that truck on the inside loses that air off the rear spoiler of that truck, and around he went. Christopher had nowhere to go. He had to give him room. He had to chase it up there. He made hard contact with the outside wall, and
look at John Hunter.
Got some debris off the 24 truck.
Bumper bars and everything
18.
bouncing. There's another piece of a splitter or side skirt that John Hunter runs into. Kaz Grala also ran over that bumper bar that's laying in the middle of the racetrack.
John Hunter Nemechek able to get through and is now going to find himself in position to possibly win this race and clinch a spot in the Final 4 next week at Homestead. And this is what Nemechek saw.
That's just good spotting, telling the driver exactly what those trucks were doing.
Yeah,
been up top,
on top of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, coming back down across, and John Hunter just did a nice job of slipping through. Vince, remember at the top
time tonight?
Remember at the top we talked about racing side by side. This place thinks it's a super speedway. It almost looks like an instant replay of what we saw just a couple of years ago. Matt Crafton down on the bottom inside of Eric Jones, racing hard, trying to make the pass. They make contact, and the result was a big crash then as well.
We also talked about at the top of the show how aggressive John Hunter Nemechek has been trying to win races. We saw what happened in Montreal last year, in Toronto last year with he and Cole Custer. And he's going to line up here if Christopher Bell comes to pit road, which we think he probably will with all that damage. Then John Hunter Nemechek will be lining up right there alongside Johnny Sauter.
Again, just a reminder, if you're tuned into FS1 looking for the Washington-Stanford Pac-12 showdown, coming your way immediately following our telecast here from Phoenix. You can switch over to FS2 or watch it on the app, FS Go. Keep an eye on the Huskies and the Cardinal. But it has been quite a dramatic evening here in Phoenix. Red for the third time. We had, of course, the incident involving Austin Cindric and Ben Rhodes, as those two were battling for that fourth and final spot in the championship 4 next week at Homestead, Miami. And then when they got together and Rhodes was knocked out of the race, you thought, well, Cindric is going to be the one, because John Hunter Nemechek just hadn't had the truck that we felt was capable of being in position to win the race tonight. And all of a sudden now, maybe a little bit different. Nemechek is finding himself in the front of the pack, but is that an issue, Mike, you think?
It looks low to me. I know they like to run the left side air pressures low, but I think that's a little bit lower with the heat in the tires that they have. That tire could indeed be going flat.
Let's take a look at maybe another one of the trucks, maybe Kaz Grala, who's right behind John Hunter Nemechek, and see how his left front tire looks. It looks low. I don't think it's quite as wrinkled up as John Hunter Nemechek's, though.
Well, Nemechek definitely ran through a lot of debris because he was right behind that accident.
And you can see he scrubbed that tire too, Vince. So maybe it's just the combination of those things that make it look flat, but it looks just a bit lower than Grala's tire.
Watch the replay, and when the collision takes place and debris coming off these trucks, John Hunter Nemechek runs right through it all. And so if by chance, look at all that debris, and then here comes Nemechek. There's some bounce off the front windshield.
There's a bumper bar that he's going to run over.
And then hits this piece of debris here with the right side.
Kaz Grala also runs over that bumper bar that's now bouncing in the middle of the racetrack.
The crew chief, Jerry Kennan, he'll be able to look at that and know that looks normal or not. It could be a combination of the low air pressure and the fact that all the letters are scrubbed off the side of it that makes it look a little bit flatter, because Grala's doesn't have much more air in it, so he might be okay there.
Well, I got to believe John Hunter Nemechek, if you would have told him that with a handful of laps left, he was going to be in the first 2 or 3 with an opportunity to win this race, he'd have taken it. Certainly hasn't developed the way he would have anticipated, but the end result is he's going to have a shot.
And you know he's going to be aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
We know that's how these truckers race. So hopefully we've seen our last red flag.
Red for the third time tonight. We had a 17-minute red flag, then a 13-minute red flag, and now this one not quite that length, but at the same time the trucks are now just getting ready to start rolling.
We saw that left rear tire on the 8 truck, definitely not as low as the left front, but you would possibly run less air in the left front than you would the left rear.
Did have a race earlier this season where we had 3 red flags, and that was at Gateway earlier this summer.
There's Jerry Kennan, crew chief for John Hunter Nemechek. He was watching those same pictures as us.
You check that, not at Gateway this year, Gateway last summer in 2016, and that race was won by Christopher Bell.
There's Dad Joe.
Christopher Bell, it looks like, is going to stay on the racetrack field, but we watched him make contact off turn 4. That safer barrier really moved, so we know there was some pretty significant contact. That right front tire was smoking. The only thing I will tell you, there's 5 to go. You're probably going to go for it, but I hope Christopher Bell, for Johnny Sauter's sake, picks the outside line, because if he gets to turn 1 and that tire is indeed flat or has issues, they could be more contact.
How about some radio from the 21 team of Johnny Sauter?
That 4 is probably